one of the things I'm really interested in just sort of philosophically when it comes to building business ventures is thinking less in the language of solving short-term problems and thinking more from the perspective of long-term resource utilization. If the only job of entrepreneurs is to solve problems, then if you imagine, 1,000 years from now we're successful, then is the world going to have no problems? Like, no one believes that, right? No one thinks that there's ever an end state in which there's no problems in the world. So I think that just thinking from a problem-solving mentality, it sort of doesn't pass the sniff test for me. Whereas if you think about this idea of underutilized resources, okay, 1,000 years from now, might every resource we have be better utilized? Absolutely. It doesn't mean you stop, you just do it again. You figure out, okay, now what's our least utilized resource, most underutilized resource, and do it again. So, don't get me wrong, from a pragmatic business perspective, absolutely solving people's problems is the way to get them to write checks. But from the sort of ethos of starting a venture, I think at least the ones I've been the most interested in are ones that I feel are sort of fundamentally changing the way some underutilized resource can be consumed. Exaptive is a company that has built a software platform for data analytics and facilitated innovation. So that sounds maybe, grandiose. What we do a little bit more tangibly is we try and figure out how to help the tools and techniques that emerge out of one discipline, how to help those be more easily leveraged in other disciplines. For example, with the big data revolution, many different areas are trying to focus on how to use data to make better decisions. And in order to do that, they apply a whole bunch of different methodologies. Maybe that's machine learning, maybe that's statistics, maybe, there's other techniques. Those methodologies tend to emerge for a particular use case in a particular area. Like, for example, financial markets. Somebody comes up with an algorithm to try and help trading in financial markets. And they do that by looking for correlations with, let's say, housing prices and oil and things like this. That technique often gets siloed in that particular discipline, when in reality, geneticists are also looking for correlations, and they might really benefit from being able to leverage that methodology. So much like when Adobe created the PDF standard, they made it easier to sort of share documents regardless of how those documents were created. Exaptive built the Exaptive platform to make it easier for methodologies and innovations from certain fields to be shared in other fields. And we've developed something we call the Cognitive City platform so that we can actively facilitate that sort of cross-disciplinary communication. We've found as we've grown the company is that while this started very centralized around the idea of facilitating the way data analytics techniques can move, we're starting to get a lot of traction in using our product in companies or in academic institutions or in nonprofits or consortia that are worried about how they get the most sort of network effects from the unique people that they have amassed in their organization. And if you have data, even better. The nice thing about data is it fuels these sorts of interactions. And so one of the things we've sort of learned to do is to extract data from lots of different sources, which might be people's publications, it might be Excel spreadsheets they have, it might be internal sort of discussion forums that they use in their company. There's lots of data out there, and really that's become the mission of our company, is to use data to connect people in ways that will stack the odds in favor of innovation. The question of, can we build more power supplies for, a penny less per, it was just that's not a question that I want my life to be the answer to. The question of, can we facilitate innovation? Can we actually make some incremental change as to how society generates new ideas? Can we take some of the serendipity out of that light bulb moment? Those are questions that when I think about, my life being the enacted answer to them, regardless of whether Exaptive ultimately is successful or not. But that's sort of a life that I'm happy to live, regardless of the answer.